Hello, everybody. It's Super Mike 2164. Bringing you a little information. All we're going to do tonight, we'll just talk about a couple things. We're just going to talk about a few ideas I want to touch base on that I heard here in the YouTube universe. YouTube universe. That's what we're dealing with today. Is it a lie that we black folks say that we are a chosen people? Is that a lie? I want y'all to share this stream. And I want y'all to participate. Go ahead and talk back to me, make a comment. And, as usual, I'm banned for Facebook for something dumb. But go ahead and share it to your Facebook people. Share it to your Twitter people. Share it to your people everywhere that you have a little social media presence. Go ahead and share this message. And, I think I want to get into what we got going on with this. I think I want to start off with just a little bit of information. So basically, we're out here trying to get reparations as black in America because of the situation that we have had to deal with, namely enslavement. It set our group of people, which we are a distinct group of people, it set us back quite a bit because we had to deal with a lot of hardships. So someone can steal our labor, steal our ideas, and treat us like second, third, fourth, and fifth class citizens and destroy any sort of progress that our community attempted to make, i.e. Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Durham, North Carolina, Rosewood in Florida. We had, even Motown in Detroit, even all the different things that we had, Sweet Auburn in Atlanta, Harlem in New York. We had many communities, and we have many communities struggling, trying to fight against, this cultural, war, basically, against black folks simply having the right to be who they are and protect their gains. We're not supposed to have, I guess we're not supposed to have the right to protect what we create. We're not supposed to have the right to own what we create. We're not supposed to have the right to tell our own history, according to some folks. And we're not supposed to have the right to claim our own narrative. And this is the kind of thought processes that I wanted to push back against with this here. Black, Indigenous American people, we are a chosen people of God. And that's not a phony religion. I heard some people over on another channel, BGS, shout out to brother BGS. I often disagree with him, but I say that he's a very well-read brother. But, you got to, just like Jason Black says, you got to watch those old people. Because those old people, some of those old black folks, they can't imagine a world without them getting cookies and submitting to a system of white supremacy. They can't imagine a world where these people, black folks are the power that dominates our future, that controls and dictates our own future. They come up with these loser narratives that were basically, and what I want to do, I want to play this narrative that kind of inspired this show. And I'll put the link in there because I'm gonna shout out to the brother because this is what inspired the show. But it's kind of, let me play that part. Let's see. Yeah, it's brothers. So this is where BGS is talking to Dennis Sperling. And I looked at some of Dennis Sperling stuff. I mean, he do some decent stuff, but that anti-black love, all that divorce crap, that failure talk, most of this kind of stuff is coming from people who just wallow in their failures. When you fail to develop the type of discipline or to develop the type of judgment to choose the right partner or to maintain yourself or your own control, to organize your life so that you can have the right partner, the right life partner, to make your life a true success and to build a nation and to build legacy. You guys want to try to disparage married people who are seeking to have happiness with normal human lineage type stuff, women, men and women having marriages, having family, creating businesses, creating strong communities, creating a system of morality. This is the foundation of that stuff. And these dudes, and that's what I'm going to call them, dudes, these people, I guess they just seem to, because they couldn't figure it out, they just kind of, they don't want nobody else to have it. They don't want nobody else. They want to try to sabotage all the women, I guess, because they're like in the manosphere. And we see this vice versa for the women. Some of these women are very intelligent, very smart, but they're failures. They don't know how to control their own, emotional storms and figure out a way to get along and to have harmony with someone that they've made a choice to be with or to have children with or to combine their life with. And they want to spread their dysfunction around to everyone else. So let's look into this is a piece of dysfunction that I see from a brother, older brother, two people actually that's kind of older, 60 and 50-year-olds, I bet. And let's listen.
This is what the fuck it is. This is real history. This is why we're all screwed up. We need to face this and get over it. And basically, okay, the thing is, we thought we were loved by Africans. No, those are motherfuckers that sold you.
All right.
Exactly, and still selling you to this day. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, okay.
Yeah. Muammar Gaddafi. Sorry to interrupt. Muammar Gaddafi, when he got down, them Arabs was quick to start the slave trade again.
They sure because they needed labor. Okay, it's an ancient practice, right? Okay, they did it in Europe by basically, if you have too many mouths to feed, right? You have too many kids. Basically, you put them in other people's houses as service. They did it in Europe too. This is a very common practice, right? And the thing is, hold on just a second.
Yes, sir.
What I'm trying to get people to get over it, it's just goddamn business, man. Stop. It's just business. Right. It has, it wasn't they were trying to be mean to you. It wasn't they were trying to make you less than. It's business. Okay. Well, go ahead, Dennis.
So what do you, it's almost like we're in denial. Oh, my family was Indian. Oh, no, they weren't. Your family was, your mother was raped. Your great grandmother was raped by the white man. That's why your hair looks like, oh, we're the chosen people. No, you were bred on a farm in Virginia or Maryland. That's what happened.
Or Maryland or Georgia, or sometimes Louisiana.
So how do we begin to just because I'm tired. I really get annoyed by it. I don't want to mess with people's religious beliefs because, you know, my opinion is whatever keeps you off the roof with a sniper rifle, you go ahead and believe in that, you know. But at some point, I feel like that information needs to be just put out there. If we started off as 300,000 people, you
know, instead of saying, look.
All right, so what I want to go through is this. I want to go through this a little bit. I just want everybody to hear the little section that I wanted to touch base on. They say these type of things several times in their in their conversation. But first of all, in the beginning of that conversation, he admits that, you know, Black people have traveled all over the planet. So number one, that lets you know that we were here before Columbus. So his title, you know, of course we were indigenous, but he doesn't admit that. Now, of course, now to his credit, we have some of our indigenous people spreading unfounded ideas that the slave trade didn't exist, which that is insane. That's another loser narrative. You know, the triangle slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade by white people did exist. We have so many documents by very different players all over the world. We got corroboration from our own ancestors. We got corroboration in various libraries in Europe, Britain. We got it in Barbados. We got it in South America. We have all sorts of documents and histories and artifacts and verbal testaments and just architecture that attests that this period of time when when masses of people were forcibly taken and enslaved, you know, that happened. Now, do we want to believe just because that part is true, is every part of that narrative that we are taught true? Is it taught that everybody from Africa was the one that, you know, only Africans were enslaved here? Okay, so what happened to the natives? You know, how did that happen? You know, so all of these different questions. Now, people say, well, if you were indigenous to North America, then how come you can't speak any of your own language? Well, just ask us how come we didn't know that we were that part of our lineage was from Africa? How come we can't speak any African languages? It's the same process of breeding, of taking children away from their parents and raising them as total slave. That's what happened. You know, you had the breeding farms, which they acknowledge now, you know, and they acknowledge in there also who did it. You know, Thomas Jefferson, some other people, they created those. They had a big business in breeding slaves, enslaved Black folks, and just like everything else, you know. And then, but also in the 1600s, you know, you had in Barbados, you had in you know, of course, down there in the Carib Islands and the Carib natives, all of these people. But those natives, they make it seem like the lie was told. I mean, any narrative that we're taught, we got to question that because these folks lie all the time. So I just wanted, let me play that just a little bit again. Let's listen to it. These are the type of narratives that are swimming around in YouTube, and they're being promoted by older gentlemen that should have the knowledge on how to use information in a wise manner. Why would I use the information to shoot myself in the foot and to shoot the progress of my group of people in the foot? Why would I use some historical information to demoralize my people? Okay, because it's okay. So you can use facts to, you know, to motivate, or you can use those same facts. Your enemy can use those same facts to demoralize. So you're choosing the facts that fit the enemy's narrative, the way that you're presenting the facts. And some of this is not facts. So we can just look at that, how Are we not a chosen people? Now that's a choice. Now you can choose to believe that or not. Now, the thing is, that's going to all depend on what you define as divine. If you accept the narrative that, the white people's God is divine, then of course we're not chosen. If you accept the fact that money or capitalism is divine, then no, we're not chosen. If you accept the scientific minds and the narratives of the white scientists, then no, we're not a divine people. We were just some made up, pile of people that's forcibly manufactured to do a job. That's the narrative you want to use the history to proportion to push, then that's your narrative. But that's a loser narrative, because in that narrative you lose, your group loses. Now, what group out of here, what successful group is going to take the information and create a loser narrative? You don't create narratives in which your community loses. That's stupid. You see, that's just showing you that mentally we're trying to keep white folks comfortable, because they're more comfortable. And when I say, and I always say this because I know there are good white folks out there, and when I say good, I'm just talking about people who are trying, because all of us have been trained. We've been trained in an environment where it's okay to subjugate and suppress and be fine with a whole nother group of people, as subjugated. There's people, even if you look at Ernest Cox, or I think his name is Ernest Cox, White America's book. This white guy, he was an ethnologist, and I've done a show on him. But the point is, Ernest Severe Cox, he told the truth. When you have two or more distinct groups in close proximity to each other, you're going to have racial friction. Now, how that's going to be solved is through separation. If the groups are too vastly different in order to go ahead and harmonize, or you're going to have eventually you're going to have integration, which they will become a distinct group, different than either side. They will combine and become something else. They'll mix. They become totally mixed. Or you're going to have war, and one's going to kill the other one. That's how it's going to work. And we got to understand that came from the scientists of the white people. So that's how they think. You see? So we need to understand that kind of thought process. So I want to play that little part again, because see, that's just such a loser narrative.
This is what the fuck it is. This is real history. This is why we're all screwed up. We need to face this and get over it. And basically, okay, the thing is, we thought we were loved by Africans. No, those are motherfuckers that sold you.
All right.
So now listen to that. Notice how he kind of directs you. And this is his, he believes this. He really believes this. And the man has read so many books. At this point in the game, with all the information available to everybody, we have accepted. The information is just information. The human being accepts what narrative he wants to use and fit that information in. So once that human being has accepted that particular narrative, you can't keep giving him information to change the narrative. It's not going to change the narrative, because he already has enough information to accept a winning narrative. But this guy chooses to accept. He wants to fit and piece the information in a way where he loses. So black folks should not try to harmonize with people from the continent, African people, the black folks. We shouldn't try to do some unity and group operation with them. They hate us. You see, that's what that narrative is telling me. If I was just listening to that with no background knowledge. And this is why you have to understand your history from your perspective. You have to understand the narrative of your own people. And BGS is a black guy, but the thing is, he's accepted the narrative of an enemy. He's accepted the narrative where our people lose. You see, our people win when we unify our power to be strong. That's when we get what we want. That's when we get to dictate resources for our community. That's called winning. But what he just did with just that little comment, he said, oh, we used to think that Africans loved us. Well, now we realize some of them don't like us because some of them have accepted the same kind of narrative he accepts, which is the enemy's narrative, then the narrative of divide and conquer. That's how the transatlantic slave trade was even possible. That's how it was possible even here with the indigenous Native American peoples, because these peoples were tribal. Our peoples are tribal. Okay. So this made it possible for an enemy to come in and exploit those differences and weaken us. And we're all the same to the enemy. So there you go. So let's finish that. Let's deal with that a little bit.
Instead of saying, look, this is what the fuck it is. This is real history. This is why we're all screwed up. We need to face this and get over it. And basically, okay, the thing is, we thought we were loved by Africans. No, those are motherfuckers that sold you.
All right.
Exactly, and still selling you to this day. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, okay.
Yeah. Muammar Gaddafi. Sorry to interrupt. Muammar Gaddafi, when he got down.
So now he's saying the Africans are selling us to this day, but we know that the ones that he's talking about really are the Arabized African folks that have, and we know that this term African is an Aryan term. So we got a lot of layers of lies to deal with, but that's what we just got to do. We just got to deal with them one layer at a time. We don't try to put it all on each and every conversation that we have, because then you get so far out in the stratosphere, nobody can follow you. So the point is, those folks are Arabized Africans because those people had an internal slave trade going on.
Them Arabs was quick to start the slave trade again.
Because they needed labor. Okay, it's an ancient practice, right? Okay, they did in Europe by basically, if you have too many mouths to feed, right? You have too many kids. Basically, you put them in other people's houses as servants. They did in Europe too. This is a very common practice, right? And the thing is, hold on just a second.
Yes, sir.
What I'm trying to get people to get over it, it's just goddamn business, man. Stop. It's just business. Right. It has, it wasn't they were trying to be mean to you. It wasn't they were trying to make you less than. It's business. Okay.
Okay, so now listen to BGS. He told us we don't like the Africans because those are the MFs that sold us into slavery, but we can forgive and we can empathize with, hey, what's going on, guys? Just press the thumbs up and share the stream. I'm banned from Facebook, so go ahead and share me on a Facebook platform. I'm just putting it up real quick. We're going to drop the link because I do want some ideas on how this subject affects everybody. What I'm talking about here is, I'm just dealing with the narratives. Our people love to take the loser narrative of all these subjects. We use facts and we take a loser type narrative. And what I'm dealing with, the brother BGS, he talked about how, let's play the little thing again. What's going on, Black Man Cyborg? What's up, bro? Okay. I want to play that one more time. These guys taking this loser narrative and it's crazy.
The motherfuckers that sold you.
All right.
And still selling you to the we from LA, man. We got folks, right?
Yeah.
When we have folks that come from the South, right? And it's very difficult to get them to talk about their past, right? Because they're ashamed of it. My parents are ashamed of being sharecroppers, right? They're ashamed of it. They're very ashamed. They won't talk about they only made it to the 8th grade, right? Or the 7th grade, wherever they stopped, right? Because they're ashamed of it, right? They don't talk about it, right? And a lot of what Black people try to do is hide their shame instead of saying, look, this is what the fuck it is. This is real history. This is why we're all screwed up. We need to face this and get over it. And basically, okay, the thing is, we thought we were loved by Africans. No, those are motherfuckers that sold you.
All right.
Exactly. And still selling you to this day. Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is, okay.
Muammar Gaddafi. Sorry to interrupt. Muammar Gaddafi, when he got down, them Arabs was quick to start the slave trade again.
Because they needed labor. Okay, it's an ancient practice, right? Okay, they did in Europe by basically, if you have too many mouths to feed, right? You have too many kids. Basically, you put them in other people's houses as servants. They did in Europe too. This is a very common practice, right? And the thing is, hold on just a second.
Yes, sir.
What I'm trying to get people to get over it's just goddamn business, man. Stop. It's just business. It has, it wasn't they were trying to be mean to you. It wasn't they were trying to make you less than. It's business.
All right, so this is what I got to deal with on that subject. See, it's so amazing how in that subject, the brother was like, okay, we thought Africans loved us, but we can hate them because them the MFs that sold us. So that wasn't just business. Those was the MFs that just sold us. We should hate them. They selling you into slavery, and they selling you into slavery now, which we know that the ones that's doing that is Arabized African. Those are people that's born on that continent, but those are really in their mentality. Those are white folks. Those are Arabs. Okay. But then at the same time, we're supposed to forgive the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants who not only sold us, whipped us, lied to us, layers of lies on us. This is what we supposed to forgive is just business. They wasn't trying to be mean to you. See, this is why we got to watch old-minded Negroes, even the ones that have a lot of nice, they smart, like BJ. He's a real smart brother, and he's red, but he accepts a loser narrative. You see, it's just like a can-do mentality. I can give two people the same instruction. I need that car sold by this, time of the week. I need this car sold. Okay. And then one person is going to take the same information and say, I don't know, it's going to be hard. Look at this market and look at the the data. The people don't have it and yada, yada. But somebody going to say, you know what, we can make it happen. You see, with the same amount of information. So there's a point where facts do not change the narrative. Once you have the facts of a situation, then you have the opportunity to select a narrative. Now, are you going to select a narrative in which you and your group lose? Are you going to empathize with people who destroyed your desire to even, access power? That's what I call a loser narrative. And so that's what I mean. When people start saying, and this next brother here, this is Dennis Sperling. And I'm going to drop the link to their show in the description just to let it be known. Because, I don't, I'm a small channel, so I get the clout chase, whatever. But it ain't really about clout chasing. I'm really just trying to deal with the idea.
Okay, well, go ahead, Dennis.
So what do you, it's almost like we're in denial. Oh, my family was Indian. Oh, no, they weren't. Your family was, your mother was raped. Your great-grandmother was raped by the white man. That's why your hair looks like. Oh, we're the chosen people. No, you were bred on a farm in Virginia or Maryland. That's what happened.
Or Maryland or Georgia, or sometimes Louisiana.
So how do we begin to just because I'm tired, I get annoyed by it. I don't want to mess with people's religious beliefs because, my opinion is whatever keeps you off the roof with a sniper rifle, you go ahead and believe in that, But But at some point, I feel like that information needs to be just put out there. If we started off as 300,000 people in 1780, and then by 1860 we were 4 million. Yeah. Somebody has to begin to explain to people the numbers. That doesn't not happen from like natural breeding practice.
Right. So there we go. This brother talking about, natural breeding practices. You're not chosen. What he's doing here, like I said, it's like this. These folks, they got to accept a narrative in which these folks, they lose. And so what I want to do here is I just want to show how white folks do it. I want to show, actually, you know what? I want to show this first. Let's look at the Constitution.
The Constitution of the United States of America, September 17, 1787.
Preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
So listen to that. So when you're dealing with a group of people, Black folks was not included in this conversation at this time. These folks, see, this is what I mean here. And this is the idea that I want to get over to some of us. This is a very hard idea to get, and it has to be done in layers because, like I said, our group of people, we've been lied to so much over so long of a period of time that, this stuff doesn't even make sense to us because we don't think we can do anything. But we got to understand that the condition of our mind, the conditions that the belief systems that we accept, the narratives that we accept, it funnels in and it factors into our decision making. And our decision making factors into our power. You see, this is how it works. That's why they want to control your mind first. That's why they're dealing with all this critical race theory and all of this stuff is about, this is serious stuff because you can't even accept or comprehend or process higher levels of, symbolic behaviors until you can get some of these fundamentals down. We are not wide awake people, even though we can accept a lot of information. But that thing here, it says, we the people of the United States. See, so at this period of time, our folks wasn't even people. And there's a lot of argument on that. And anybody, like I said, brother, you can come up and have a conversation about it. This is not just me just talking tonight. This is one of the streams where we invite anybody who wants to have a comment on the subject, get on up and we will talk about it. I got a couple other pieces here that I want to, this is another thing I want to talk about here on this Constitution. I noticed this. Nobody says this about the Constitution because we're talking about reparations right now. Well, we've been talking about it, but over the last year, with the efforts of a lot of bold Black media people, we have made reparations, kind of forced that reparations into a big deal. So reparations is mainstream. And the white folks, the Democrats especially, they are just like, no. They're going to play every dirty trick to get elected. They will not promise you anything. They will lose. They will bring other people in, illegal immigrants from another country. They will give them reparations. They will get Asians reparations. They will get vice presidents from India, pieces of Jamaican heritage, just anything to do versus simply going ahead giving the Black people who they told us we were citizens. You see, but this is why I got this document here. because this is a hard concept for us to understand and believe. They told us we were citizens, and it works for them for us to believe we are citizens, and we are a kind of citizen because we do have some protection in the system. There's a degree of it, but that little protection that we're having is eroding very fast. We're literally not even being protected as if we were just out in a bush somewhere. You know, it's more dangerous to live in a so-called civilized society than it is to just live in the middle of a rainforest somewhere out in the wilderness. You see, and that's what a civilized society is supposed to be. It's supposed to be something that gives you advantages over primitive human beings. But let's look at this here. I just wanted to show this part with I think it's really the 14th Amendment, but
legislation. Amendment 14. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside.
So that right there shows us that we are citizens. We are a kind of citizen. So that's what we believe. You know, that's how I'm looking. I'm not a constitutional scholar, but this is what they make us believe here. So they say that you was born, you're under the jurisdiction, and you a citizen. Okay. So nor shall any state process law to deny yada yada equal protection under the law. Now we know that's being broken because we don't get equal protection against the law. So, okay.
No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law.
Now we know that's not happening either, right? Because we're getting deprived of our lives, you know. George Floyd, we're getting a bunch of that going on. But this is the part I really want to get to here. This section 2 that nobody really talks about that I think that's interesting. Let me see. Let's see. Let's see. I think it's this one. Now this is right here interesting. You're talking about the debts incurred for payment of pensions. Now we know Callie House, our elder Callie House, right out of slavery, she was fighting for slave pensions, which was reparations, which was the first fight for reparations by ex-slaves, 300,000 black people who had literally just got off the plantation. They wanted those pensions. They wanted those pensions, especially from those people who served in the Civil War. But this here, let's look at this. It says the validity of public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred from payments of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection. So that's talking about that. Well, we think that's talking about that war, that Civil War thing. In suppressing insurrection or rebellion shall not be questioned. And I guess questioned means that they got to pay it, can't question it. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid or of insurrection or rebellion against the United States. Okay, so they're not going to pay if you help somebody, you know, and you lost money because you was helping them. We ain't paying you. But neither the United States insurrect the United States or any claim for the loss of emancipation. So just because your slaves were emancipated, of any slave, but all debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. So, us, when we come around talking about how, slavery, reparations is a legal debt owed. Well, if we're going to submit ourselves to this Constitution, these folks say that right there was taken care of. Their stuff is void. All those obligations and claims due to loss or emancipation of any slave are held illegal and void. So I don't know. That just seems interesting to me. And I just want to show a couple of other pieces here because this group of folks lie so much. I want to go into this here. Hold on a second here. Press the thumbs up, share the message. Let's look at this here. Hold on. This is a thing going around Instagram right now. Let's see. Hold on. This is showing us how. Here it is.
Almost everything in that video was wrong. Number one, his name is Liba.
Today we're going to talk about who Papa Legba really is.
Almost everything in that video was wrong. Number one, his name is Liba, not Legba. The G is not pronounced. Two, he is not a god. He is a spirit. There's a very big difference.
A god of fertility, and he's a trickster.
No, he isn't. Kalfu is. His Loa opposite. He is the Miste of crossroads and communication between humans and the other Mistes.
Is one of the most beloved of all Loa.
One is Loa. And two, Papa Leba is not a Loa, he's a Gine. There's a difference. All of the spirits are Mistes, but not all of the Mistes are Loa. For the love of God, if you guys don't know something about a culture, shut up.
Everything that you said in this video is incorrect. Papa Legba is Papa Legba. He is not Kalfu, and he's not a Gede. You didn't pronounce one thing in this video correct, and people who actually practice the 21 divisions are laughing at you. You need to take your big black ass off my page and never come back. The reason why I blocked you is because you hate white people. Every single one of your videos is full of nasty, racist comments, degrading everything about white people for no good goddamn reason. You are ignorant and you're entitled, and that is the worst kind of black person to come around and get on my motherfucking profile. And I'm going to tell you now, just because you black doesn't mean you own any of these traditions. Santeria, Today we're going to talk about who Papa Legba really is.
Almost everything.
So that's the mentality of the enemy. Yeah, exactly. I'm white and I say so. You see, this is what we got to deal with here. This is warfare. They get us in the mind first. And this is where you battle for your narrative. And there's a lot of old folks that don't understand this. We are supposed to be the authorities on our pathway. We're supposed to be the authorities on our narrative. And if you're sitting up here, these type of white folks, a lot of them, they like to just kind of mimic. There's a movie called Mimic. They like to mimic. Okay? They want to mimic. They mimic you, and you think, oh, that's cool. They're trying to be me and be cool with me and stuff like that. Maybe. But maybe they're just trying to understand you enough, because that's what they do in ethnology, ethnographics. They understand you, and then they know where to manipulate. They know where the division points are. They know where to create confusion and alternate narratives. You see? Narratives that suit their power. This is what I mean. I'm just so surprised, especially as older folks who have been, especially if you've been in this country so-called this consciousness for a period of time, you understand that. You know, Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. What's going on, big brother? Go ahead, unmute yourself. You muted. There you go. What's up, big brother?
What's good, bro?
Good, bro. What's your name, man?
You got it. Black man.
Black man. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I tell the white folks anyway.
That's cool. So what's on your mind, big bro?
Oh man. Yeah, you right. That's been the history of these folks since the beginning, before they started ruling. That's right. How they do it. They delete your history. Man, I since I've turned off the TV and come over here to YouTube, I learned so much, man. It's like I was really living in the Matrix for real, man. Like all the shit I learned in school, bunch of bullshit, nonsense, a lot of whitewash shit. Then you learn the real history of things, man. These folks got shit twisted.
Yeah. And we learn also that it's not just one way. It's not like something that, okay, what we think is it's one way and it's without question. It can't be changed. When you start learning it, you start seeing that everybody has a narrative. A narrative is different than actual history. And that's the part that a lot of us are getting confused on. We're dealing with a narrative, and then a lot of times that narrative it's like a movie. You know, Clint Eastwood walks off in the sunset, you know, whatever. He's the winner. He's the hero. But there was somebody else that was the loser. What is the same set of facts going to be said from their perspective? You see what I'm saying? It's just like you said, the lion. If the lion can't write its own history, he'll always be the villain.
True.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
The worst part of things to me is I learn all these things and I try to tell my folks some of these things, and you know, some people see it as you trying to be smarter than them, and which is definitely not the case, because I'm still learning.
Right.
You know, I'm not to the point where I feel like I know everything. I'm still learning. But you know, as I learn these things, I want to share with other people the shit that I know. So, you know, they'll have a clue of our history, so we know where we're going. You have some that feel like you trying to be smarter than them, and then you have other ones that just dismiss everything you say as internet bullshit.
Right. That's another one.
You just can't even have a conversation with them. And then some of them get so upset when they talk and they start yelling and yelling and yelling.
You know why?
You know,
because you hitting that foundation.
Yeah, don't get mad, get smart, and prove me wrong. In the words of John Henry Clark.
Right. That's it. But at the same time, I don't know, and this happens to different groups of people, depending on your region. I believe on your region of the country, because you know we all in the United States and in the Caribbean and Canada and stuff. You know, we got our one way, our overall, I should say, enslavement process and history. You know, connected with that. But each region has like a kind of like a special little
culture.
Yeah, it has like a special little history where certain things were more prominent in that area, like like the east, the northeast. You know, they have a lot of the history concerning the Aborigine Black folks, and I'm gonna show a couple pictures, because this, you know, one of the things here is that's why I played the other brother earlier, and he's an older brother. He's good. He's smart. I hate, see, that I don't demonize people just because I disagree with them. That's another thing we got a problem with, because like you said, you talk to your family, right? And let's say they don't know what they maybe they've never heard of that, right? What you was talking about. But they not about to let you get them or be smarter than them, because they grew up with you. They know when you did whatever you did and how stupid you is when you was doing something dumb. So they're not gonna let you get one over on them. Some of them, that's some of the mentality sometimes. But we can't be getting mad at each other just because maybe we don't agree on certain stuff. Like, we can get mad. I'll say it like this: we get mad, but we don't let it get devolved. Just like I'll give this example. Like Germany, Russia, England. You know how many millions of white people they done killed in the World War I and II of each other's?
Yeah.
You know how many they killed? They killed many.
Yeah, I know.
Blew bombs up and murdered each other. But today, look at them. I mean, some of them they still don't like Russia that much, but they ain't blowing them up. And individual Russians can go all over the white world and be accepted and be cool and friendly and everything. But we still talking about slaves in Africa. Oh, those MFs that sold you. Those the motherfuckers that sold you. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of how we devolve in our disagreements so much to where we align with the absolute enemies, the people who want to kill everybody.
We'll carry that hatred for our own brothers, but we'll forgive these devils.
Exactly.
With no problem.
And that was the part that we got to learn from our past. That's the real biggest. That's probably the biggest. Once enough of us learn that one lesson, then that slavery thing, that we've solved that problem. Because I feel like the ancestors in history, and just the spirit of God, which is, to me, is all nature. It's gonna keep throwing that curveball. If you keep getting killed by it, it's gonna keep throwing it to you. It's just gonna keep throwing it to you. And until you figure it out, till one of your generations figure out how to solve it, then you'll move past it. If you don't know how to solve it, then you'll become extinct. It'll keep throwing that thing.
I think they're figuring that out right now, man.
Yeah,
with all the things that's happening now, and things are slowly starting to change.
Yeah, we changing. But yeah, like I said, I'm looking at how we deal with each other, because these folks, they can't hold us back really at all. We literally have the capability to do what we want to do, and we
are our worst enemies.
Well, i.e., our ignorance is our worst enemy.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. See, that's another thing. I mean, I'm careful of some of the language I say, because if I'm your enemy, then I don't want to unify with you. You see what I'm saying? I want to fight you.
That's how we view each other sometimes, as enemies.
It's true. We do. We do, but I think that we have when we see a problem, we have the ability to. We might not be let's say I say something. I can't change a person right away just because I say something. They're not going to just flip and change right away. But maybe they'll think about it and say, you know what, true enough, I don't like what, Kamala Harris or Roland Martin or Barack Obama did, and I'm going to speak against them. I will, I'll do what I do against their, this stupid behavior. But I'm not going to call for, maybe somebody taking them out or something. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. And I understand people doing that. But truly, the thing is, if they didn't have nobody to sell out to, if those folks didn't have anybody to sell out to, would they be sellouts? You see? So I can't go all the way and start making. And I know that it's logical for us to do that, but like for us to say like, oh, the sellout is worse than the enemy. No, it can't be, because who would they sell out to? I mean, the sellout is a sellout. He's an enemy, but if you take care of the root, then you just take care of him by default. That's how I look at it. I mean, yeah, that's just how I look at it. That's the reason why when I talk about other people and what maybe I disagree with them, I try to keep it on the actual thing, about what it is. It's not necessarily trying to demonize the person. And that's kind of how I look at it. Now check this out. Let me let you see something. I want you to give me your opinion on this here. Black man. That's straight up.
Rebellion against the United States or any.
Hold on. What do you think about that? I don't know if you heard that before. Anybody talk about this little part on the Constitution? He was talking about how on the 14th Amendment, if it's a let me let them say
for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void.
Hold on, stop, hold up right there. Now, when he said that any rebellion or war against the United States, I immediately thought of Japan.
Okay.
Japan bombed Pearl Harbor and all of that.
That's deep.
And after we did what we did, I'm not sure if you listened to the Black Authority, but he was doing a story last night about how Japan received all this economic help after they bombed them to build them into the country that they are today. So yeah. And I can probably think of a few more that could stand out with Japan.
Yeah, they'll give reparations to anybody else, but for some reason they got a real problem.
They don't want to do what's right by us.
But it's something deeper than just not wanting to do. It's something else. It's some serious. I think it's more. It's not practical. It's like religious or something. Because it's no real good reason. It makes more sense, to go ahead and do the right thing.
Well, if they give us reparations, they will be removing their foot from our neck.
Right.
Basically.
But then they don't have to worry about it. And the way I tell white people, and I talk to white people too, the way I tell white people, I'm like, look at Russia. I mean, nobody's really coming at them about no slave reparations. Look at, those Sweden and all that stuff up there, or whatever, Netherlands or something. I don't think they had slavery, did they? Sweden and Netherlands.
I'm not sure about Sweden, but Belgium.
Oh,
Belgium, I know did.
And Belgium, they got Angola coming after them. But the thing is, the Angolans, they're getting all up in the parliament over there in Belgium. Because I know Henry Leopold II. He was ruthless. Yeah, he ran a big game and they scared of that because they're gonna get that back. But the thing is, just look at Australia. They did some genocide, but they did the reparations. They did the reparations with the indigenous
Australia. Australia. They wiped out a lot of the Tasmanian. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Tasmanian. You won't see a Tasmanian anywhere.
They're from Britain. That's still that British mentality, and that's the kind of the people that we're dealing with. That kind of Britain. Yeah, so that's what I mean.
It's worse.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of criminals and degenerates. The same people that came here
Now, did you know about about King Philip's War?
The Boers?
King Philip,
No.
Metacom.
King Philip.
Let me
I don't know.
Let me play a little bit of that. I'm just gonna play a little bit of it, but I will put it in the descriptions for y'all to check it out later. But it's very vital. And see, this is what I put this here is because anytime somebody's saying, okay, are we African or are we indigenous? Well, the history, if you do a thing of the history, we're both.
We're both.
We're both. So I don't know why they
want to keep
arguing.
The way I like to look at it, that there wasn't enough Aboriginals on this land to, create the country that it is today.
Right.
I do believe they were here, though. I don't know if you hear some of these guys on YouTube, the Aboriginal blacks, where these dudes can be downright disrespectful sometimes. Yeah. I just couldn't even stomach listening to that garbage, man. They were in this live stream, bruh, and they were talking about, them guys, Alquan and all them guys.
Okay.
Man, they up in this live stream. This dude talking about slavery didn't even exist. That was all a lie. I said, nigga, say what? I had to bounce, bro. I had to bounce.
And see, that's what I'm saying. That like you gotta have intelligent people who dealing with facts. And now, like I said, I get a little pissed, but I don't get super mad with our people because we are coming out of a situation where we don't really know. And then you start exposing this information to all of our people. Some of us are ignorant. Some of us are a little smarter than the others. Some of us are, so you're going to get all these different reactions, right? And then you got YouTube, you got Instagram, you got all of this stuff. People going to spread it. They're going to say what they think.
Right. But man.
Yeah. But
first they were denying that they was slave ships coming back and forth bringing slaves there. Then they straight up just said that slavery didn't even exist.
And see, this is where
and all I could say was, who sent you? Who are you working for?
Dane Calloway. I mean, this is why I fought Dane Calloway for a little bit because he is smart, but he says some stupid stuff. He does say some stupid. You hear Dane? You listen to him sometimes?
No, I haven't heard of Dane Calloway. I haven't heard of him.
Okay. Well, yeah, Dane Calloway is big. He's one of the bigger ones who have did a lot of work, and he has done a lot of good work, literally proving that black folks, the way we look, we were here. Our phenotype was here before Columbus got here. He did a lot of good work Ivan Van Sertima, of course, the book too, but Dane Calloway has kind of brought it kind of central, but he's so radical. He says some dumb stuff, and that kind of messes it up for me with him. It's just, and that's, we got to just kind of work with it. What's up, Trailer? Yeah, y'all can come up. I don't mind y'all coming up, Trailers. But the thing
Trailer Hood Voodoo Ninja.
Yeah, he's a white guy, but he's he's sincere, so it's all good.
Salute.
Yeah, but check this out. I want y'all to see this part. This is I'm gonna just give you a quick synopsis because I'm not gonna play the whole video since you didn't know this one here. So when white folks first, the little pilgrims came over with the 1607 that they officially came over with Plymouth Rock up in the Northeast. They had met these Native American people. These were the Algonquin tribes. So they had decent relations. They start having a problem. Yeah. What's up? Yeah, they started having a problem with them as the years went past. Then this man's, the first chief son, his name was Metacom. But the pilgrims and white people, they just start calling him Philip. You know how they do. They just like to name everybody.
Right. Toby.
They'll tell you, yeah, you Philip. Huh? Shit, damn. Okay. But you know, the natives had learned English and you know all this stuff, and so they start getting disrespected. This around the time where they start getting real disrespected. So they started having a problem, and you know, Metacom was like, "Okay, we about to just kill them." So he launched this war. They lost the war. I mean, they beat them back, but then some of the other, you know, they end up coming in and they end up beating those natives. But they were all taken. The survivors, they were taken and sold into slavery in Barbados. And then when you go research into Barbados and their slave plantations and their breeding farms, because the breeding farms were everywhere, right? They were designing people. They had this thing called serpent women, where they were, especially like up in New Orleans or something like that. And that's why it's so freaky down there in New Orleans, because they like to design, you know, native women, white women, and like black and African, and then they get this little design that got the little chinky eyes, and they think that's good, and they can just, you know, use
Creole.
Her. Right. So they were doing this heavy all over the place. But yeah, come on up. What's the name? What's up? What's up, Trailer? What's going on? Trailer. Hello? Your mic on?
There he is.
There he is.
What's up, Trailer?
I can't hear you, Trailer, if your mic is on. But the bottom line is the dude was so basically they sold this whole tribe, the Pequot Indian Wars. They call
Can you
it.
hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Pequot Indian Wars. So the Pequot, I can't pronounce that name right. But anyway, those folks, when they were defeated, they were sold down there in Barbados. And when you get sold into slavery, okay, especially in the Caribbean and the Carib Islands, what happens to you, okay, and to your people, okay, they're going to get beat up. Yeah, they're going to get raped. Yeah. Any men that have any kind of decency or manhood to them, oh, you're going to get buck broken. Because the thing, first of all, if you're a man, you ain't going to survive. You should be dead in the war. Now, if you do survive, I don't know how, but you're going to die probably on the way there. And then when you get to the island, if you still got a little bit of manhood left, they're gonna bust your behind out, and you gonna.
Now, if you don't mind, let me ask you a dumb white boy question.
Go ahead.
Now, my thoughts on the whole thing is, what good would it do for these slave traders if they were purchasing slaves from Africa? What good would it do them to actually beat and kill their slaves that they paid for, that are actually going to, you know, be their, for lack of better words, their bread and butter when they get them to where they're going to sell them?
That's a good question. It's an absolutely great question. But check this out. You got to think about it. Okay, if you're getting adults here, you're getting people who have a knowledge of their home, a knowledge of their sense of worth and self-humanity. These people will kill you. They will kill you. They will create insurrections. This was a constant fear when you read any of the history. Constant fear. This is why a lot of those breeding farms were on the coast so they can get quick reinforcements. You had to break those slaves. You can't ride a wild horse without breaking first, right? Okay,
right.
So you gotta
and I understand the process of, you know, breaking something to where, you know, it does as it's told, but I don't understand the whole wanting to basically beat something to where they serve little or no use for you once you get them to where
use them as the example.
Right. The one
so anybody else that wanted to buck up and try to overtake the overseers, that's an example to them. You get your head cut off like Philip here.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. That does make sense.
And the thing is too, like I said, you know, sometimes you just look and see what actually happened. And you know, if it sounds strange, you know, you can verify, check some sources, make sure don't sound right. Just, you know, have
no, man. me, I'm all about trying to do research and find things out, man. Me and you, I've found out a lot of things from having discussions with folks like you.
Oh yeah. And so what you do here is this is my process. If some sound weird, I'm like, okay, let's make sure. I'll check into it. I keep my eyes open, and if I get various sources who don't know each other, unrelated, and I look into it different points of time, like the Russians might comment on it, the Americans, the British might comment on it. I believe if I'll see where they agree, and then I don't have, and then it's true. And like with this here, you got many sources and library and history on it. So I'm gonna play this little part here.
Right. I mean, I wasn't trying. Me, I wasn't trying to throw no shade by asking. It's just one of the things that, to me, as at that point in time in history, with the melanated community being basically a commodity, it didn't make sense to bring harm to your income.
Right, because it's like a piece of equipment.
Right.
But every now and then they had to make examples.
Right. And that I understand, but I still, and I'm not going to refute that examples had to be made per se. I still find it hard to believe that they would do that all the time, though.
You got to remember, a lot of these plantations, the slaves outnumbered the owners.
Yeah, and so you got to keep that. You got to keep that morale down. That way, they don't get that whole that ant colony mentality. Well, there's more of us than there are of them type shit going on.
Hey, it's
easily overtake this
right now. It's going on right now in a certain way. But let me play it real quick. Hold on.
The way the English dealt with this tremendous anxiety that the waging of King Philip War caused was to write about it, and write about it some more. For only by writing about the war, what we might cynically call putting a spin on the war, could the English reconcile themselves to what had been done to them and to what they themselves had done to the Indians. However remarkable for the magnitude of its destruction or the depths of its cruelties, King Philip's War is almost as remarkable for how much the colonists wrote about it. Over 400 letters written during the war survive in New England archives alone, and along with more than 30 editions of 20 different printed accounts, many of them here at the American Antiquarian Society. In letters, diaries, and chronicles, English men and women in New England expressed their agonies, mourned their losses, and most of all, defended their conduct.
But we see whose perspective we getting, right?
Yeah, we're getting King Philip, and wasn't he a Spaniard?
No.
He was the king of Spain, right?
No. You see that? You see the name. His name is actually Metacom. But the English start calling him Philip. And even the historian here, that thing is called King Philip's War. But this is a Native American man. His name is not Philip. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
We're hearing this. You see, she just said like they wrote about it and they put a spin on it. So the same thing that we get from Fox News, the same thing we get from CNN, and
the same thing we've gotten through our education.
Yes. That's what I mean by the loser narrative. You see, they use some facts, and then they're gonna make it where they win in the end. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you know what they say: he who wins the war is the one that writes history.
Right, but it's that they say that, but actually, we're finding, especially nowadays, that that's not all the way true, because they do write history and they get everybody to believe it at first for a while. But when people start really going into it, they start seeing these inconsistencies, and then
if it's not accurate, then it's not true history.
Yeah. Well, the problem that that has arisen now is we have a bunch of gentlemen and women that are our age that have become self-taught intellectuals, and we have been going out and we have been trying to learn our history ourselves and we're finding out the things that we have been taught throughout our lifetime, mainly in our education system, is nothing but a narrative.
Right. Exactly. And see, this is what I mean. Like this, and that's why I was saying, Black Man, earlier. It's like, yeah, you're gonna get just what Trailer just said. A lot because of the lack. It's like a void. Nature abhors a void, right? This stuff we should have been knew. It was available. The information was available.
And right? Well, see, and the problem with that, though, Mike, if you think about it, is people become comfortable with a narrative, regardless of what their culture or what their race or whatever is. Okay, people become comfortable with the narrative, and they become uncomfortable with facts that negate the narrative that they've been told their whole life.
The thing is with it, Mike, that if you don't hear anyone else talking about that subject, you're not going to even know about it or where to go look.
Exactly.
If you hear somebody talking about a certain subject, it's like your mind is blown and you go research it and there it is. And a lot of our problem is that a lot of this history we haven't been taught.
Right.
And once we go around some of our elders and we hear these things, then we learn. And once we learn from that, we want to continue learning on other issues that happen in history that's inaccurate.
It's like you have a thirst for that knowledge.
Right, because see, in your mind, our mind, I remember somebody saying our mind is actually mathematical. You know, we hear a narrative, we hear a timeline, we hear, okay, first there was Egypt, right? And then there was
the timeline ain't jiving up.
Right. Then we hear, okay, then this is what happened in Greece, right? And the Greeks, they was doing their thing. And then all of a sudden, here go Rome. Yeah, Rome was making it happen. Rome was doing its thing. Then here's Britain. Britain was making it happen to France and Germany, yada, yada, yada. And now
too many of these timelines are colliding with each other, not making sense.
And then we hear America came up, right? Columbus came out and jumped up in here in America and made it happen, right? Okay, and then in your mind, like at least my mind, you know, a black kid's mind, my mind was like, what was the Chinese people doing? What was the Africans doing?
Right.
I'm thinking
what were the Russians doing, man? Where were they at in all this?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, okay,
what were the Aborigines doing down in fucking Australia, man? How come we don't never hear them?
Yeah, we don't hear from those people's perspective. Now, and so that's what. And so when you get that perspective that your mind literally knew had to exist, but just didn't know, you see what I'm saying? It's like you don't necessarily, by you hearing somebody else's timeline, you immediately know there's stuff that's missing, but, you know, we're not going to talk about it because nobody said nothing. But then later on, you get those missing links, right? Now it just makes things, it makes it more interesting. You see, so with this particular thing, I'm just showing how, you know, how this, she was saying how the history was written, and she'll go into how, you know, like that was a bloody war, but I just wanted to show that, and I want to show some of the pictures of those. This was called, you can look it up in history, called King Philip's War, but these are Algonquin people. These are the people that the English and Quakers and stuff first met when they were dealing with
when they hit Plymouth Rock and shit.
Yeah, Plymouth Rock, because the Spanish first came to Haiti.
Right, we're not talking about when Columbus sailed from Spain and actually hit Cuba and Haiti and all that down there. We're talking about when the Puritans sailed from England and hit Plymouth Rock.
Yeah, that's what we're told when we're talking about that point, because that's the part that factors into what we're dealing with the U.S., United States of America, right? So I just want to show this picture here, and see, just because we got to open up our perspective. So let me see something here.
And see, that's the thing that a lot of people, like, you know, a lot of kids don't even realize is Columbus didn't even find America. Columbus found what do they call that?
Well, he found Haiti,
but the islands out behind
the Caribbean.
Yeah, Caribbean islands.
Yeah, you can't find nothing where people already done done been there before.
See, that's another thing. My daughter said that to me. You're right. Now, see, they just messed. See how they got us right there.
If you look at some of the guides that were with Columbus, all of them were black.
How to sail over to the New World,
right?
And they're from Africa.
And the currents coming out of West Africa and South Africa that bring you right to these certain destinations over in North America.
Right. That save, I think, what was it, like months off their trip if they sailed using that current on the southern hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you learn about
see, I learned a lot of that.
You read Columbus journals. You read Columbus journals, and he saw the peoples along the coast, and he thought he was somewhere in India. He thought they were Dravidian because the Dravidian are so dark, and hence where they got the name Indian from.
Right, but also too, that's why I'm gonna show some of these pictures. These Algonquin people. Now, people might say,
"Well, remember African people wearing headdresses, brother."
I know that's what they want to say. I know you would say that, but the thing is, they are. If you test their DNA, you're gonna find African DNA. But necessarily, why wouldn't you? Because everybody came from that space. A lot of folks came from those spaces. That's just one picture. Then I'll show you this one here. I just want to show a couple here. I don't know.
I think a lot of what they call Native Americans were Africans, and a lot of them were from the Mongols as well.
Well, you have red natives and you have the black natives. Now I'm gonna show you straight up Indians. I'm gonna show you something real quick. And this is something that nobody.
Indians from India?
Yeah. I'm gonna show you something.
They don't look nothing like Native Americans.
Well, I'm just gonna but we'll see that there's a red melanated group, and then there's black, darker, which is more of our phenotype.
The Dravidian.
Yeah, you got
Dravidian.
Let me see.
I've never heard the Dravidian term. That's a new one.
Dravidians, see, that's a whole lot of stuff. Like India, they have a whole thing too. It's
a caste system.
Well, it's a caste system, but I'm saying they have a better way to me of telling time than we do, because they tell time by celestial events, meaning, like, for example, they can tell, like, okay, if this earthquake happened, or this volcano erupted. These are things that anybody can verify in the historical record when they look at the rock.
Are you saying they don't go by the Gregorian calendar, which is off by fucking many centuries now?
Right. Yeah, they don't do that. I just want to show y'all a couple of things. This is an Indian, and y'all know these are Jawa people, right? Y'all see this?
Wow, they almost look purple.
But I'm just saying, these are Jawa. You've seen this before, black man, right?
Right. That look more like the North Sentinelese right there.
They are. But what area are they in? That's India. That's the India.
Right. Well, the North Sentinelese is not too far from the Indian coast.
Exactly. So this is what we need to understand. This ain't nothing like nobody.
They all over, bro.
Right. These are.
Well, see, I've done enough research that I know that the melanated community has actually spanned the entire globe. I mean, They were already populated the globe before any of the Europeans populated the globe.
That's Pacific Islander. I think this is Hawaii, not Hawaiians, but this is Samoan. These people from Samoa. I mean, it's just, you can tell they're island people, but I'm just saying they not like the red natives. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't look like that.
Well, hell, Mike, that's like me and you got into a really good discussion one evening about why Egyptology is a science when it comes to studying Egypt, and why they're trying to hide the truth about Egypt.
Right. This is a man who lived, Jean Augustine. This was a painter. He painted.
You know how many Catholic churches have the name Augustine in it?
Right. He painted this from what is this? From 1795. This is what he's seen when he got to San Francisco, California. These are the people that he's seen. I mean, you know, this is what he's seen. You know, and you can
the native tribes.
Yeah, anybody can look these pictures up. Right. This is an artist. Yeah, you can look these artists up. You can see him. He got other pictures and stuff. He's a famous old artist that you can see. So, in these pictures, these are Hawaiians. This is what they've seen in Hawaii. You know.
You know what? It almost makes me wonder, Mike, if the fact that they tried to hide so much of, you know, melanated history is because non-melanated people were kind of stuck in one area, you know, while everything else in the world was going on around them.
Well, you think about it, it's like this. That's why I think we were getting at just a little bit ago. There is not just melanated people, because we know that there's melanated people all over. Okay, so, but there's a particular history that this country has with these particular black melanated people that came up under the system of slavery servitude in this jurisdiction, because there's a particular claim that we have. There's a particular legitimizing claim that we have that threatens, I guess, a certain group of folks. And this is what we're dealing with here. This is why they could bring in, you know, they could bring in some Africans from wherever, and they give them some extra little scholarships and to do things. They can bring in some melanated people from Mexico and South America to do some work here and there.
Yeah, actually, to be honest with you, I stopped referring to the melanated folks like yourself as black people, because I looked up what the definition of black really meant, and I didn't like it. And melanated actually defines you guys, your culture, a lot better than black does.
Well, you know, this is how I look at it. I'm a black man. In the definition, I'm well aware of that. I know about the Moors. I know about the Hebrew Israelites, and I know about Black's Law Dictionary. I know about all of that stuff.
I'm just going by the normal definition that's in any dictionary.
That's not what black is, because you got to realize the concept of black from the perspective of the Aryan, which is the culture that those the etymology of the black concept from that perspective comes from a culture like Latin, which was the Roman language. They were the enemies of the melanated people. So if you're dealing with their perspective of black, it's going to be negative. You see what I'm saying? Because their perspective is death. You see what I'm saying? And their perspective is dringy and all these negative terms, because it's
always associated with evil and death and black magic, and
they had to get their people ready to fight these dark folks.
That race construct, that appears during slavery. Before that, it was no race construct of black or white or anything, and that people were known by their regions.
Well, that's true. But in the ancient time, there was a concept of people were referring to themselves as blacks and reds and stuff. That language does exist in the ancient when you start dealing with the Roman times. And then the Negro, the necro. If you start looking at the etymology of C, the letter C turned into G, because it was in necro, which we know necropolis and death. And then you got Rabbi Rashi back in, I think that was 1511. He came up and started calling us Negro, which is a dead thing, basically. Because their lips are big and something like that, like dead bodies. That's how it was like a slur. And then they started using that Negro thing, which in Spanish, right? It means black, right? So that's what I'm saying. This mindset from that lineage, from that etymology, yeah, it's negative. But when you start looking at our histories, when you start looking at, like the people in Apsu, and then Nubia, and then even Ethiopia, or even Abyssinian Abyss. These are positive black soil. Is Egypt, and Kemet, means black soil. These are positive uh, etymologies of black. You see what I'm saying? So the concept is coming from two different histories. You see what I'm saying? We start dealing with that language. And
yeah,
so,
now that you mentioned that,
go ahead.
I was going to say, now that you mentioned that right there, I was listening to this young brother speak on one of his lives, and he said the N word as it's used today, with the soft A,
yeah,
that all the brothers and sisters use with each other as a greeting.
Yeah.
He said, actually, that is an evolution of, it used to be Necra, what you just said.
Yeah.
And he said what that used to mean was king.
Well, no, that was, the thing is, that's what I mean. I know I heard that before. It's not true, because it depends on you got to know what you're talking about. Okay. So just like what I explained, if I use black because it's ancient, and a black is original. And when you start going into the concept of black from the positive etymology of the original peoples, it is a concept that is renowned. It is esteemed. That's why the people look dark. They love the way they look. You see what I'm saying? The dark girls were esteemed. The dark people were esteemed.
They were proud.
Yes. So when you start but of course, which is normal, but I wouldn't say the negative part. But if you was from a white community, or your color should be esteemed in your community. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Everybody should be proud to be what they are.
It should be esteemed in that community. So that's all I'm saying. But the thing what he's talking about is in Gusi and in Negas, which is from the Ethiopian, and from Abyssinia, which is today Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
Their king is called Negas, but it's not nigger, because we know the way we use it, it comes from the white etymology, because we were enslaved and our mindset was that's why we speak in English, and we got to just kind of work with it. That's all.
Well, it's your guys' way of taking a negative slur and switching it up, making it a positive word.
Lie when you do it. You got to know what you're talking about, otherwise it doesn't work.
Right.
If you don't know, if I'm taking the etymology and the belief system of the enemy of an ancient people, and when I say the enemy, I'm talking about people who, way back they was warring against.
I know you ain't talking about me, man.
Yeah. I'm just saying, because the enemy, so I'm just saying, if I'm taking that mindset from them and then applying it to me and trying to recreate it, no, then I should reject it. But if I have something, maybe it sounds the same. If I say I'm saying negas and I pronounce it the way that my people said it, or something like that. Now, we speak English, so of course we're gonna just say black, because if I could say abyss, or I can say even more actually means black when you start going into war. But they just want to have, people want to argue about stuff.
That's something that I've noticed when it comes to the whole Moor history, man, is there's a lot of arguments and contentions when it comes to
they argue with each other. They love arguing. I got a lot of friends that's Moor. They love arguing. They arguing with each other.
Right.
But the thing is it's like this. My thing is this. We got to be prepared to receive new information, and we're going to have patience with people as they develop, because they're going to be saying crazy stuff. And all we can do is just, but I do believe that the people who, sometimes I'm wrong, or sometimes I might be wrong or something.
Shit, I can't count how many times I've been wrong about something, man.
I chill out and just kind of, okay, yeah, you're right about that. And sometimes people have facts, but there does, like I said earlier, sometimes if a person, like you said earlier, Trailer, people get comfortable in a narrative.
Yep.
And then sometimes the facts
disrupting the narrative, making people uncomfortable.
I don't have a problem with people being comfortable in a narrative. I do believe narratives are important because narratives serve to motivate people. But if
there's a difference between a good narrative and a bad narrative, though, too.
Right. If my narrative, okay, this is how I look at it. If my narrative depends on false information, I have a big problem. Okay. For example, I heard the other day that that's the reason why the title of this thing here is talking about how we just a manufactured group of people. We're not chosen by God. We're just we were just designed on a slave plantation to be big bucks, and that's it. That's basically what
does that make the rest of the planet?
Exactly. That's why I said. But see, if I was to stop and leave it there at that and take that narrative, then I'm nothing but a cyborg.
Yep, you've accepted the Matrix for what it is, brother.
Exactly. I just have to fall in line, and I'm just a pack animal. Let me pull the cart. That's
might
it.
As well continue eating them blue pills.
It's over. It's over. The man said, okay, but let's say, okay, yeah, they did breeding. Yeah, that happened. But we resisted, But we got we learned how to read. But we learned how to, you see how I'm adding to the narrative with facts, but I'm making a narrative in something that I can be proud of. And that's totally acceptable. I don't expect anybody to teach the school children, just like with this critical race theory talk.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know too much about it, but I know that there's white people, which I understand. They're gonna protect their narrative. They're like, hey, listen, we're a great nation. George Washington, he's the founder of the country. He's the first president. We had
the first president.
We had the Continental Congress. We was some great folks. Thomas Jefferson.
Slave owner.
All slave owners, man.
Well, that's true. But you see,
yeah, I mean, how can you say great person and tie slave owner to a great person's name?
But guess what? He was great. See, great doesn't mean good. Great doesn't mean good or bad. It just means you were very impactful.
All people have to do is look at laws of today. Just because something's lawful doesn't mean it's moral.
Right. So what I'm saying is this. Look, I don't have a problem with them protecting the minds of their children. But
they're protecting a lie, though.
But okay, yeah. So now, but guess what I want to do here? I want to protect the minds of my children. So how can we create a narrative that depends on the truth, but inspires folks? That's how I would do it. The narrative got to depend on the truth, but we can't just let the narrative demoralize people. I don't care if they're white.
We have a lack of honesty, man. If people wanted real truth, then they would teach the good, the bad, and the ugly of history, and not separate the ugly from the good and pretend like the ugly never happened.
And I agree with that 100%. But I do agree with sugarcoating. You know why? Because when people are hurt, it makes it harder for you to get the agenda. My whole objective is the agenda, is success. I'm not concerned with hurting people's feelings. This is the reason why I talk
back on that a little bit, though.
Well, let me say something real quick. I'll let you talk, but I just want to finish that point. The reason why I even like Trailer, like you come around, like I'm a Muslim. I was born, the white man is the devil, straight up. That's how I was raised. I'm straight up.
And you thought I was for a long time.
Well, no, I didn't, because by the time I haven't even talked to you, I already knew how to handle that, how to process that information. That's why you got decent talk from me, because I understand what humans, human nature. Okay, when a group of folks is oppressed and hurt, they're going to claw back and hurt indiscriminately just to get some breathing room. But once they got breathing room, it's okay. Now I can plan and we can look at objectives. Okay, and I understand that in a world, everybody's going to have a space to be themselves and actualize themselves. I can't allow you or your group to, or anybody, I should say, not just you or your group, but anybody. I can't allow anybody to oppress me, my family, and my community. But I don't want to oppress you and your community either. I don't need to, but just, and
That's a fair statement.
Yeah, and I work with people who don't feel threatened by, see, America is replete with, that's what the Black Wall Street signifies. There's a group and style of white folks who feel threatened when black folks look like they're getting a little something. Like if they're doing a little good or they got some
they got more than a little something.
Yeah, when they start getting a little,
they had more than a little something. They had so much that they tried to pretend like it never happened.
Yeah, that right there, I don't play with. If you feel threatened because we got a car or we got a building or we've got rich over
here. They had planes, Mike.
Yeah, and they feel threatened. Why?
They was doing that shit all through the early 1900s, burning down towns, and I'm learning about more and more each day.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of the Elaine, Arkansas?
No, I didn't.
Elaine, Arkansas. Some people estimated they killed like 1,000 people. What happened in Elaine was you had a bunch of sharecroppers down there. And they were giving them the business. They wasn't paying them for what they were actually working.
Right.
So they all the black farmers got together at this church, and they were discussing creating a union so they can get what they deserve.
Right.
And a couple of white guys heard what they were talking about and shot somebody in the church. Well, they shot back, and I think killed 2 of them, and that set it off. Right. They had white people coming from other towns to join in. And they said along the way, if they saw anybody in the field working, picking cotton or anything, didn't care if it was a woman or child, they would shoot them on their way to Elaine. And when it was all said and done, some people say it was like 1,000 people died.
Now, my question, to go back to what Mike was talking about earlier, to, sugarcoating some of history, don't you think that if not just, melanated folks, but also white folks were all taught this history that like we're talking about right now, it may have helped to kind of curb tensions between everybody a whole lot sooner?
Well, yeah.
I mean, just the simple fact of teaching history properly.
That's what I'm getting at. Properly. I'm getting at it. The way you teach it is you're going to teach it.
Hold on, Super Mike. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Now, the danger with that is if you were out there saying anything that was against the narrative that was being said, what do you think would happen to you?
Probably got lynched.
Like, exactly.
Well, whether you were white or black.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some out there that were doing it.
And they got lynched.
And it didn't end well for them. John Brown was one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that one guy's name? That white guy that was married to a black woman down south, that him and his wife got killed?
Oh, I think shoot. I think
where at down south?
Was it in Florida?
No, it might have been. I know it was somewhere. It's either Florida or Alabama or something like that. It was back during the 40s and 50s, maybe early 60s. It was a white man that was married to a black woman, and they both got killed, I believe, because they got married and were trying to tell the truth about shit.
I don't know. Well, this is what I'm saying here. Look, if you tell the truth, but you can't do stuff all of a sudden and have it work. It's just like you got to do stuff in stages.
Yeah, I know. It causes
But
people
it never worked.
to explode if you give them too much truth.
That's what a lot of folks who in the radical tradition, they don't understand. That's why a lot of times they don't get stuff done. Like the enemy, what they'll do is they'll flood this generation with a little bit of information on let's say LGBT, just a little bit. You know, they if we can get some traction on this argument, oh, it's just in the homes. You know, nobody's trying to, you know, make you. There's no agenda. There's no gay agenda. There's nothing that nobody's going to do to you. You know. Okay, that's reasonable. So I got you on this first 10 years with that argument. That's normalized. Now let's go a little further. Okay, now you know we need some to teach this in school here. You know, we need to get some change histories. We need to add this into the history. We need to add this into your insurance with the sex change stuff. Any employer need, you know.
Well, what's crazy is a lot of our Roman philosophers are all gay that people don't even realize.
Exactly.
It's interesting you said that, Super Mike, because one of the discussions about this whole gay agenda was these trans, whatever you want to call it, these trans people joining the military and able to get sex change operations on Uncle Sam.
Yep. Yeah.
Now,
I don't know how I feel about that.
That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. First of all, if you confused with what you are or what you were born as, you don't need to have your ass in the military.
I agree with that.
That's just my feelings on it.
Yeah,
and I can understand where you're coming from on that, you know, because confusion leads to more confusion.
Yeah. See, this is what I mean. Like, you can advance a certain argument, get it normalized, and generation by generation, every 10 years, you get to where you really want to be. But once enough people see, like, oh, here's danger, this is danger, you know, we got our population numbers declining. Oh, we got all of this issues going on with, you know, these negative issues that we got, all this confusion. There's all kind of abuse of people, and you know, folks are arguing in school, and you know, parents are taking their kids out of school because of they feel that the school is overreaching, you know, because of lack of differences of opinion. We got all of these problems, but
I wouldn't even say it's a difference of opinion. It seems more to me like they're forcing this shit on these kids.
I have to agree with
they forcing this shit on these kids,
right?
And it's damn whether you like it or not.
I know.
And to touch on what he was saying with, you know, transgenders in the military, you know, we got that whole trans women wanting to take over women's sports right now. You know, and everybody trying to say that there's nothing wrong with it, but you don't ever see any trans men trying to take over men's sports.
And I don't understand that.
Well, see,
how are you gonna let some little boy wrestle this little girl? It just doesn't make any sense to me, man.
But see, now the women are seeing a problem, because before, we know a generation ago, even the women were defending everything, right? Mostly women. They were defending everything. The men,
trans women took over the feminazi movement.
Right. We were like, man, this is a problem. What's gonna happen when this? What's gonna happen? The women was like, oh, no, you just, you know, you're being hateful. Okay.
And everything that we brought up actually came to happen.
Exactly. We knew what was up. But my point is, when you want to change it the other way to get it back, you got to sugarcoat. You got to advance your arguments in a way where it, you know, in that same way. Otherwise, it don't get done. Because when you start trying to bloom right away, just you know, it looks like oppression. And people resist oppression. That's the nature of a human being.
Now, whatever a person does in their own home, that's their business.
I agree.
When you turn on a TV and you seeing shit on cartoons, and all over commercials, I can't agree with that.
Throat.
Right.
You know, and that I'm with you with, man. You should,
and then if you say something about it, you a bigot or you prejudiced. If you say something about it. Look, man, I saw something on somebody's channel one day where this transsexual was reading the kids, He had on all this makeup and wig and shit, and some old skimpy ass outfit, and he did a split. He did a split right in the floor in front of the kid, and I just paused and said, "What the fuck was that about?"
Right. And what's the point of it?
Well, the point, Trailer, is their agenda. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like people, they want.
Well, look, as us all being straight men, we've all heard the term, breeders from people that are from the gay and trans community.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like it when breeders, show their sexuality out in public and out in the open.
Well, that's fine.
But at the same,
tell me what the hell cis means?
Well, I broke that down one time.
Cisgender means it's you and I. I would be a cis male. You would be a cis male according to them.
Let me break that down real quick. I don't got the visual for you, but let me tell you where it comes from and then what they want to say it means.
Please do. Enlighten me, brother.
You type up cis and trans chemistry. Just type that into Google, and that'll be your visual. And that comes from basically when they're doing organic chemistry. It's basically like the same when the same I guess counterparts. Okay, so when you have a reaction with two different chemicals, you'll have a cis reaction and you'll have a trans reaction. And so from that, they end up calling us cis. But it actually, cis means that the two sides are different. They interlock each other, meaning like almost like a male and a female. I mean, no, cis means that they're the same. And trans means male and female in chemistry. But they turned it around again when they started applying it to people. Because, they're saying how, love is chemistry kind of thing.
If you want, I can give them the two actual definitions.
It's just weird, man.
It says
I don't like nobody naming me.
So it's basically just straight people.
Yeah. It says right here says
chemistry though. That's where they got it from. They got the terminology from chemistry, but it don't pan that way in chemistry.
Right.
Because they confused. These are confused folks. But nah, the thing is, and like I said, and we're about to end up in a little bit, but I just wanted to bring some of that information out just so that we know what's going on, everybody. Yeah, Facebook banned me. Let me tell you what Facebook banned me.
Oh, good. Welcome to the club, brother.
So stupid. So I was telling somebody, let's see if I can pull it up. No, I was telling somebody.
You know how many Facebook pages I've had removed from Facebook now?
I've refused to make a new one.
Facebook a joke.
You ban me, I'm banned. Sure, I'm not going.
I uninstalled my Facebook and I use it through my browser.
That's what I was gonna do. I did it. I did that a couple of times, but I was like, you know what? Whatever.
Facebook has taken my Facebook page 3 times now within the last 8 months.
That's so disgusting.
I mean, you can't really say anything. If you talk about anything about the election or anything about COVID or anything about January the 6th.
God forbid you mention Fauci.
Oh yeah, they protected him. Oh, look at this mess. This is what they banned me for. Let me see if y'all can see this here.
It don't take much.
What standard did you violate?
So stupid. I was talking about how, because Carnival, right? The Carnival in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So they have that a lot in especially Caribbean people's culture and South America.
Who does Carnival over in Lima, Ohio every year.
Yeah, but and I was just telling they were all talking about look how beautiful these black women are and everything. This is what they banned me for because I posted that.
Can't see it.
You can't see it? Oh shoot, hold on.
Oh, you put titties on Facebook.
But if you look at these women here, they're not trying to be sexual. They're just standing there. They're not right. Trying to be sexual.
It's normal for them.
Yeah, they're just
indigenous. Man, them Caribbean women be fine as fuck though, bro.
Yeah,
in all the right places.
But the thing is, the way the carnival is sexual. You know what I'm saying? no, like they're the way they're displaying themselves and stuff. It's like
ass and titties
in a sexual way. Yeah,
Right.
doing it, pushing sex, and that's kind of what I was showing. Like, you know, they was talking about, oh no, because really, actually, and you know, Carnival, that part kind of stems from some of those festivals that France had. And, you know, a lot of those places was French colonies. And that's where they started doing it from. And then, you know, and the black folks think that it's all black culture. But I was like, that's actually French culture. A lot of it. It's some black culture in it. You know how we're going to make stuff our way. Whatever we get, we're going to kind of twist it the way it's us. But you know, the dancing with all of the booty dancing and all of the orgy stuff. that's a Frenchy type situation.
Ménage à trois.
Yeah, because they were showing how, oh, you know, we used to walk around with no shirt on and hardly no clothes on in different places that we was in. But I was like, yeah, you still see people walk around like that today, but it's not sexual. They walk around like, I know a couple African brothers that tell me, you know, Mike, you know, before I came to America, I see titties all day. I see titties. But now when I come over here, I'm like, damn, you know.
Right.
Now it turns them on.
Yeah.
But when they were at home,
everything in America.
Yeah, but when they was at home, they'd seen that it was just like nothing. It's just like
it was like a t-shirt.
Yeah, they wasn't even thinking about like that. So, yeah, I mean, you know, that's just kind of what I wanted to touch base on. Let me see.
You know how all of us Europeans, man, we got to ruin a good thing.
Well, it's what it is this. This is what I would say to, you know, and I've been taught this. You know, every group of folks is here to do a certain job. And you know, the thing is, and this is how, and this comes from my teachings, my religion. Okay, so it's a way for defense, but it tempers us. I'll say it that way. It's like this: groups of people, they have a certain you know, motivation based on their history. And the thing is, you know, if I was a white person and I wanted to advocate in truth for my people and my narrative, but I still would be resting it on the truth. Okay, I would be like, well, you know what? Yeah, you know, we did a lot of genocide, but you know, that's kind of where we came from. You know, from our fights in Northern Europe, and we kind of brought that around the world. But now everybody's in that resistance. It accelerated the development of human beings, because when you resist oppression, you have to develop, you know what I mean? You have to kind of do an arms race to try to develop yourself. Now we learn our lessons, so we need to pull back on that. But, you know, that's how I would play it. Because you know what? The thing is, it's just like I said earlier, just like with Germany, just like with France, just like with the Allies. You know, they killed millions of each other. They blew, what is it? How many? 65 million Russians dead?
Oh, Christ, dude. The Great War and the Second World War alone, man, what was it? A couple 100 million people killed?
Right. Millions of people in the United States. I think if you just start doing right and you're like, okay, yep, we did wrong. Yep, we did some genocide and everything. And yep, and that happened. Yes, it happened. Okay, here's some reparations. We're gonna try to work with the people. We're gonna try to get you what you need so you can kind of develop yourself. When people start developing and a couple of generations pass and ain't nobody gonna be worried about all that.
Christ, dude. How they gonna pay reparations for the biggest fucking lie that the world's ever been told the last year?
This is how you do reparations. It's not money. It's
right.
Money. It is money, so money's included. So
well, see, I'm not I'm not talking about the traditional reparations that everyone else is. You know,
no, but this is why
this last year, the whole globe has been lied to about so much, and it's coming out. And there have been so many different people from different facets of the world that have had everything that they worked their lives for taken from them.
Right. But check this out. This is reparations. It starts with money. That lets us know you're serious. But when the really what it is you create the conditions where people can grow. You know, you just create conditions. You set up a conditions where people can grow and develop themselves, and they will repair themselves. Now you're going to provide some assistance because there's a lot of you know, like you said, all the lies and all of the stuff, the because of the past, there's a lot of dysfunction in the communities. There's certain things we got to be educated on. All that.
Mike, I believe that it should be land.
Well, yes, exactly.
Like the Indians, no taxes, and it's got to be more than a one-time payment because slavery was generational.
Mm-hmm.
So to decrease that wealth gap, it's got to be more than a one-time payment. And I really do believe if reparations are given, this whole country would see an economic boom that the world has never saw before.
We know
you put money in our hands. You put money in our hands, we gonna make it do what it do, baby.
Well, you know that.
It's definitely going to stimulate the economy like no other.
But what I want to do is, this is how I look at it. I'm like, okay, what's stopping that? What is the hesitation? What's
stopping it? The same thing.
Concern? What are they concerned?
I'll tell you what's stopping it, Mike. The same thing that caused 2020 and 2021. That's what's stopping it. They don't want anybody to have any real wealth or any self-sustaining or self-sufficiency. They want everyone to be beholden to someone else controlling everything for them. That's what they want. That's what's stopping. They want everyone to be basically to rely on some governing system to provide. That's what they want. Who they are, I don't know.
A slave planet.
Well,
that's exactly it right there. You nailed it right on the head, dude. A slave planet.
Yeah, those people are identifiable. But I mean, you know, the thing is, like I said, you know, we put a little bit into it. Like I said, y'all share it. I'm gonna show this one more thing, and then I want y'all to comment on this, and then we're gonna end it. This is one last thing. Now, this is dealing with the lies that we've been told. But I think I don't know if anybody have been paying attention, but the UFO thing. You've heard anything about that?
Oh yeah, I've heard all kinds of stuff about the old UFO thing. I've been talking about that for years, though, man. I've been knowing this is coming.
Yeah. And you seen this Cydonia? You heard of Cydonia?
Mars.
You talking about the man on Mars?
Yeah. And they just released the thing with the UFOs. The Navy, they've been released it actually, but officially they making the move.
Have you seen the pyramids? Have you seen the pyramids on Mars, Mike?
Yeah, I've seen that one, dude.
And I can't deny that it does look like the Great Pyramids of the Giza Strip. It even has like a exact same positioning of the Sphinx, where it looked like the Sphinx was. I don't know, man. It's just.
Yep, it's got 3 pyramids that look like Orion's belt.
Yeah. It's hard to dismiss that.
Have you guys seen the newest footage that's come out about the pyramid shaped aircraft that they've seen, that they've actually captured flying in the sky now?
No, I haven't seen that one.
No, I haven't seen that.
Can y'all see that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is the face, even though they try to mess it up with the they said it's enhanced and this ain't a real face. But
you still see a face there, bro.
Still see it.
But that could possibly be because our eyes have been trained to see it that way, though. Too.
I'm looking right at something different, man.
I understand that we're looking at something different, but we know what that's supposed to be. So our eyes are probably trained to fixate. Well, not only that, you got to also understand that the human mind, our brain, is forced to. We look for things that we can relate to. So we see the brow, and we see the nose, and we see the mouth.
That's right. We're supposed to do that because we're intelligent beings. We look for patterns. We see a pattern. We see a pattern. And that's what I mean by the lies and the narratives. They have spent a lot of sociology and science. That's when I took psychology
class. That looks like a brother's face too, by the way, because he got a big old nose on him.
Psychology class. Let me tell you something. I took psychology classes. They spent a lot of time making you second guess yourself.
Absolutely.
They spend a lot of time showing you that you don't know what you're looking at. Our natural proclivity is to see a pattern. We see a human face pattern, humanoid face pattern. We see it, even though they mess up. And we definitely see it from far. When we're looking at this is the first image they showed. And they won't even let me get that big. But the bottom line is, let me see if they let me.
Yeah, the one at the bottom there. Yeah, that's the very first one we ever saw.
Yeah.
With the and you still see a face in that at an angle.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one. Let me see if they let me. They won't let me get this. This is the one I really want to see. Whatever. But the bottom line is, they don't know how they made the pyramids. You can't make a pyramid today. We got all these megaliths. Nobody that you go down there, if the Aztecs or the people that's down there are descendants of the Aztecs who built those megaliths, why can't they build more? Okay, they don't know.
Explain why people that could barely who had yet to invent the wheel could build megaliths.
Right. They don't know how and they even say, we didn't build this. We don't know how this done.
Dude, they got people convinced they did that shit with copper tools. And anybody that's ever worked with copper knows that copper ain't cut in granite.
Right. And they may have done it. Our lineage did it, our ancestors did it, but the information was robbed and taken from us. So, but I mean, the thing is, we just need to understand that there's a lot of information out there. And we're being exposed little by little because we've been in a state of just planetary amnesia. We don't even know what we don't know. We're running around thinking that.
Well, see, I think that's what those megaliths were put here for, Mike, was to try and cure our amnesia.
Well, yeah, that's just to show us when we wake up, as they're waking us up, just so we can, just for reference points. So, yeah, you're right. But that's why I tell people don't lock on to stuff real strong sometimes because, yeah, you'll learn something new this generation and then some new information will come out in 10 years or 5 or 6 years, and it will just add to the narrative or it might erase what you thought you knew. So, you got to just be careful, especially during these times when all this information is coming out. Human beings, we've been around here for a long time, and the story is much longer than what they tell us.
And propaganda's been a big part of the human conditioning for longer than what they want to let on to believe.
Exactly. Yeah.
The whole propaganda thing that's been going on since the beginning of time, if you want my opinion.
Yeah. Especially like that's the name of the game. It's called anything in nature can become whatever it is designed to become. It just has to make a choice, and the choices is what we create. For example, if I want to create a nation state called China, I'm gonna make a certain choice, and I'm going to enforce that choice. Whatever I make up, as long as I have the power to enforce it, then the situation will become what I wanted it to become. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
That's what we gotta understand. We can do a lot to change stuff. So anyway, I'm about to end it off, y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming up. And
thanks for having us, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, man. I always enjoy good intellectual discussions with you, brother.
All right, Trailer. All right, Black Man. All right, peace.
All right, catch you next time, Mike.
Yep.